Hey everybody, day 4, more stuff to take care of, allocate, move, put in places, etc., etc. Brought a bunch of stuff from what will no longer be my bedroom, just a bunch of knickknacks and stuff that I kept on a special shelf, which is not here yet. I'm gonna put it all in this bin right here. And a couple more books. Again, it's not all of them. Again, we're doing this all in sequences. So, here we go. All right, so some more gargantuan animation books to put away, plus a couple of albums that also came with books. These are like super deluxe sets. We got the one for Abbey Road that came out in 2019, and the Beach Boys Feel Flows box set, which collects the Sunflower and Surf's Up sessions and everything else in between. So actually, I'm gonna take this one out first and see if it, okay, yeah, fits like a glove. Sorry, the camera was pointing down. So I'm gonna put these two up here first. So they have the CDs in them, because, you know, CDs, I like to have music on physical media as well. I know everybody likes to stream on like Spotify and such, but as for LPs, well, a while ago, my record collection got taken out by a basement flood. This was like back in 2017, and I haven't mentally recovered from that. Like that collection I spent years building, and a quarter of it was taken out by a basement flood back in 2017, and I've barely collected any records since then. And because of the amount of space in this new apartment, I don't think I'm gonna be able to take what remains of my record collection with me. So that's a little tangent right there. But I got the Abbey Road and Feel Flow sets on CD. So now we got around 2010, I want to say. This was when Walt Disney Animation Studios had reached, well, to them, their 50th animated feature, which was Tangled. They did a series of huge hardcover books. We got Design. They have these very nice spines. You know, Walt Disney Animation Studios, the Archive series. I believe that's when those came out, in 2010, in the run-up to the release of, see, I'm like pointing the camera downwards because I'm trying to like pick them up very carefully with one hand while holding the camera, my phone with the other. So this is the one for, there was actually 4 of them, but I only have 3. This is the one for animation. Actually, I'm gonna put this in my left hand. And then we got story. Of course, this was during the, you know, as what it's known as the revival period, the sort of period after Michael Eisner stepped down as the CEO of the Walt Disney Company and Bob Iger took over and installed the Pixar heads John Lasseter and Ed Catmull as the chiefs of Walt Disney Animation Studios. And that period is believed to be the revival period, and Tangled was, the push for Tangled was big at the time. And I remember it all too well. I had just graduated high school when Tangled was coming out, and there was that whole push. Actually, you know, I'll take some time. I'll show you very briefly like what these books were like. This is very, very, very fancy. It's all kinds of good stuff. Just very, very briefly, like it goes back before the features even, like it covers many of the Mickey Mouse short films and the Silly Symphonies. And as you can see there, the cover is a story sketch for Through the Mirror, which came out in 1935, 2 years before Snow White. So yeah, see, the thing is, they're long though, much like the Storm Thurgeson album cover book, but if I close the, okay, good. Very good, very good. Very good. So that's done. Now let's check this box out. Got another Toscan book. This one of rock covers, so it's similar to the album cover book. And it fits, thankfully. I got another big, thick-ass book. And here's one I mentioned earlier, The Art of Walt Disney by Christopher Finch. I believe that there was probably a paper cover here at one point. This was given to me, but I believe that there was a paper cover over this at one point. You know the ones I'm talking about. Like this, over the hardcover. This, again, book written in 1975. Let me see if it has that section I was talking about, like Yeah, it even has a section for the theme parks and everything. It cuts off at Robin Hood. In fact, that looks like the Ken Anderson version of Robin Hood, because originally Ken Anderson was supposed to design the characters in Robin Hood, but then I think Milt Kahl redesigned Robin Hood. This is when Robin Hood was supposed to be voiced by Tommy Steele and not Brian Bedford in the finished film. I think that would be on the next page. Here we go. Yep. Further projects are already being planned. Okay, so it doesn't mention the Rescuers. For some reason, I thought it had mentioned the Rescuers. But yeah, this is like a good piece of history to have. So I'm gonna put that here. And then we have a couple of smaller books that I was able to take with me. A couple of soft covers. In 2008, I went through a little phase where I was kind of dabbling with the works of sci-fi fantasy author Michael Moorcock. His character Elric of Melnibone is one of his most well-known, and one of the things that drew me to Michael Moorcock was his portrayal of a multiverse. And this was before like the Marvel Cinematic Universe or anything like really took off. And it really like, you know, parallel universes, alternate universes, who is Elric in other universes. And Moorcock went pretty wild with the whole like idea, and I really got into these stories for a little bit. I remember I made this first book like a summer reading sort of thing. So yeah, I'm gonna put these two here. I much prefer this cover, the Tereska Tanalorn cover, because it's like hand drawn. This looks more like a CGI, like a video game sort of thing. And this is the Stealer of Souls. And they both have forewords by I think Michael Chabon wrote the forewords, and they had illustrations in them too, which I thought was pretty neat. And even collect some of like it's kind of like dusty on the bottom. There's like illustrations in them and such. I was introduced to Michael Moorcock's work via the British rock group Hawkwind, who I got into at the time. I had just discovered like, oh wow, it's like rock music, but it sounds like you're on another planet. It's like, this is so cool. It's like, this is even more next level than Pink Floyd. No insult to Pink Floyd. Pink Floyd is also really cool. And lastly, we have a Zappa biography by Barry Miles. And it's got a section with photos as well. Frank Zappa is like one of my favorite musicians, so at the time, and this was also in 2008, like they were kind of like phases, but phases I never outgrew. Not a phase, Mom. That's what I do. That's what my autistic brain does. Like, I have all these interests, and you can tell that the Zappa book has kind of been through the ringer, I guess. I used to bring it to school with me all the time, and I would read it during like silent period. Like, yeah, like you're all reading whatever, and I'm like, I'm immersed in my Frank Zappa biography. But yeah, that's just how my autistic brain works. Like, it's a lot of like I really get into something, it becomes a hyperfixation, and then when I get into the next hyperfixation, I store it away in the file cabinet. Like, I don't forget about it. I go back to it every so often. Like I said, it's not a phase, Mom. So I just go, I just put it in the file cabinet that is my brain. And then lastly, we have a hardcover Paul McCartney biography. This one is by Peter Ames Carlin, because there was also one written by Barry Miles as well, but I don't have it. This is Paul McCartney, A Life. And again, just some really good stuff in that one too. So I have a couple of Beatles books. Should really get some Beach Boys books, honestly. I just gotta find which ones are, you know, quintessential reading, because there's like a whole, and I think Ames Carlin wrote one on the Beach Boys as well, but one of these days, I'll get a Beach Boys book. Okay, so enough about books. We still have plenty of space left to put other stuff even. Yeah, so far so good. All right, so all that stuff has been successfully moved to this storage bin, and there's actually enough space left to put other things in there. I don't know what I'm gonna put in there just yet, outside of the collectibles. I'll go into the collectibles once I get the shelf back, once I get the shelf over here. That's probably gonna be on the day everything, like the last day. I'm gonna close the book on that one for a little bit. In this bag, are all my Halloween decorations. I have like a ton of these. Can't see all of them, of course, but they're like all buried in here. I believe this is a record clock that was given to me for Christmas or something. Oh yeah, I was about to say, like, so it's not a vinyl clock. It's somebody carved the Beatles silhouettes into this this copy of Yellow Submarine. I hope it was a scratched up copy though, because if this was a perfectly fine copy of Yellow Submarine, the album, the soundtrack to the animated movie, I mean, come on, if it was a perfectly playable copy, they should have gotten like a scratched one. But yeah, it was housed inside this Anita Bryant sleeves. Like, why would I have an Anita Bryant anything, like an album or a clock made out of one of her albums? But yeah, this is a piece of vinyl art that was given to me either one of my birthdays or one of the past Christmases. But yeah, that just happens to be in the bag with the Halloween decorations. I'll probably elaborate on those in another video. Probably, like, I say that very loosely. Like, I'd like to do videos if I ever have the time. But yeah. Today was like a short moving day, so I got other fish to fry as well. I gotta get some other stuff done, but yeah. Yeah, again, thanks for watching. This is Kyle O. Bye-bye.